Good evening, Los Angeles, and happy Saturday to all the lovers of the black and gold. Happy Saturday to all the fans of Major League Soccer, and of course to the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is another edition of One More Sleep, the Hot Lana edition. And we're calling it Hot Lana for a reason, and one reason only, and that's got nothing to do with the weather. It's because poor Atlanta United has been a steamy, hot pile of basura this season, which means garbage in Spanish. This could be the worst Atlanta United team since they came into fruition, since our club came into fruition. And you know what? It's only going to get worse for them as they step foot into BMO tomorrow. I say they could be the worst because they did have a 6-win season a few years back, only 5 wins thus far. Couple more games, though, they could still beat or tie that remark. So we'll see what happens. But my name, in case you don't know, is Christian Philemon, better known by my evil alter ego, Philly. Yes, Defenders, we all have our own Slim Shadys internally. And the gentleman on the other side of the screen has even more alter egos than I do, believe it or not. He goes by teacher. He goes by coach. He goes by chaperone. But in our world, he goes by Bufanda. He's our Bufanda, and we love him for it. I give you J.R. Liebert, a.k.a.
The Scarf. What is good? It's the gray-haired goose coming at you live from Lawndale. That's right. I think that one's going to stick. It looks like that's become a favorite. We've got, of course, the platinum-haired flamingo to my, I guess that's my left.
Not really platinum anymore.
But listen, Philly, just 2 more home matches in the season for LAFC until we embark on the playoffs. And oh, by the way, got to keep pace with those teams in the West. San Diego won, Minnesota won, Seattle's winning, Vancouver plays tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. But Philly, this is another 4-match gauntlet. Yes, I know you think I'm just overusing this term out there in black and gold land. 4 matches in 15 days, and we got all 12 points. Well, guess what? We got 4 matches in 14 days to finish out the year, Philly. But luckily for us, it looks like everybody's available for the Atlanta beatdown.
Ruben in the chat says, Philly, if we win the West, are you going to do a shoey? I'll tell you what, if we win the West, I'll do a shoey followed by a beer bong just like that. That's what I'll do. 2 beers in the course of 25 seconds, and you can time me. And for every second that I beat, Scarf has to drink something for the remaining time period. So just saying, that'll be it. Why the hell not? Why the heck not? That should be a fun one. Hello, good evening, everybody. Seems like it's been a little while. Scarf, I recall a time in the not-so-distant past when we had some salty conversations with some salty LAFC fans about how much they wish LAFC could be more like Atlanta United. And at that point, maybe we understood that comment. Sort of. After all, when they came out of the gates, they came out red hot. MLS Cup champs in 2018, U.S. Open Cup champs in 2019. They won the Campeones Cup in 2019. But if you look at what they've done ever since then, it has been nothing but chaos in Hot Atlanta. Since 2020, they had a 6-win season, a 13-win season, a couple of 10-win seasons, and right now they're on the verge of potentially having their worst team ever. Now, I wish I could go back to look those folks in the eye that said they wish that LAFC could be more like Atlanta United and simply give them 4 letters. And that's STFU. Seriously, such a bad Atlanta United team. We really have it rough, Defenders. Look no further than the team that we are hosting tomorrow night. We've had a cakewalk in our support of our MLS club. We're really spoiled around here in LA, and the sun shines brightly here in Los Angeles, and I'm not talking about the weather.
Yeah, look, Philly, gone are the days of Joseph Martinez and Ezekiel Barco, and I'd like to say Miguel Almiron, but the prodigal son returned this year from Newcastle, and it was supposed to be a coronation, an MVP-style season for Miguel Almiron, a massive disappointment from Miguel for so far this season, but we'll see. The much ballyhooed Emmanuel Latte-Lath coming in and and doing okay. Alexei Miranchuk. I mean, these players are, they're doing fine. Saba Lopjanidze has been good, leading the team with 8 assists. But then you look between the pipes, Philly, and that's still the old man in Atlanta, 41-year-old Brad Guzan. It's incredible to think, Philly, this will only be his 262nd match for Atlanta in all competitions. The guy played over 60 matches with the U.S. men's national team, and they don't need to build a statue. They could just let him stand outside the stadium with his movement lately. That'll be fine. We love Brad Guzan in MLS circles. He's just one of those good dudes, man. He's not a guy I want to make too much fun of. But Philly, again, I think the important thing to remember is this could be, Philly, at BMO Stadium the last time that anyone will see Denis Bouanga, Heung-min Son, Nathan Ordaz, and Matthew Chonier until playoffs.
That's true. And just to confirm, they will be on our team, as all those players that Scarf just mentioned will be going on international duty, with all of their first games occurring on the 10th of October, followed shortly after that on the 14th. But we will have the opportunity to see them. They'll be heading on international duty after the game on Sunday. Scarf, the other thing that I just wanted to rid myself of, because it is still some kind of PTSD that hits me every time that I think of Atlanta United, the worst defeat we've ever had in club history still does come at the hands of these guys. It happened on April the 7th, 2018, when we were down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It was not the very best performance by one Tyler Miller, our goalkeeper at the time, or our backline. 5-0. That's the first time that I ever looked at our side and said, ooh, we may be a bit of rubbish. But we turned it all around. To me, the way to exercise those demons is to pulverize them. And honestly, we have not pulverize them at all. Every single game that we have had against Atlanta United since that beatdown back in 2018, they've been close games. 4-3 in 2019. Was a 1-0 game in 2021. Stalemate in 23. We won 1-0 in 2024. I think if there's ever a time for us to exercise the demons of that game in 2018, it would be tomorrow.
No, look, you're absolutely right. LAFC, though, has never lost to them at BMO Stadium or Bank of California Stadium, whatever it might have been. Like you said, we beat them 4-3 back in 2019. We were up 4-1 until Eddie Segura tried to help them out with an own goal, among other things. And the draw, look, the draw back in 2023 was a dominant effort by LAFC. Solid defending by Atlanta. It was a missed PK by Carlos Vela. But J-Mac between the pipes needed as many saves as you and I did that game, Philly. 0 saves to preserve the clean sheet. Look, head coach Ronnie Delia comes from a very good pedigree. We're talking about a guy that coached at Celtic, at Standard Liège and Bruges in Belgium, and, of course, 90 matches for NYCFC that year that I felt like we were trying to run away with the supporter shield, and then they just kept drawing and winning, and we just kept drawing, and that was just a weird season. But look, this is not a good Atlanta United team. They are a -20 differential on the season, 37 goals in 32 matches. So you're absolutely right, Philly. If we can keep the offense in gear and get this thing moving, then we will be just fine. Denis got to score a bunch of goals, though. Rob Risley talking about how Messi, he's only one back of Messi. Yeah, but he's going to be probably missing the next 2 games. So he's got to get those goals in bunches and in a hurry. And I think, Philly, with that, shall we get to the tape?
Yeah, the only other thing to note about Atlanta United's performance is they haven't won a game since August. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, let's get right to the videotape.
Yeah, early August at that, too. Look, I'm going to take the 2 guys that have broken the MLS transfer record. Emmanuel Latteloth came over with all the fanfare that one would expect of a megastar, and he has promptly provided 8 goals and 3 assists for the Cote d'Ivoire center forward there. Look, I'm not intimidated by Emmanuel Latteloth's stats, but I also haven't seen the guy play in person. So I want to see what happens when we get him out on the pitch at BMO and see what he looks like. There have been a lot of players that once I see them in person, I can be pretty impressed depending on what their numbers look like. But I just haven't seen it from the guy that Atlanta United spent $22 million to bring over. Philly, you're the financial guy and talking about ROI all the time. Not sure that Atlanta is getting the ROI that they would have liked from Emmanuel Latte-Lath. I know he leads the team in goals tied to Alexei Miranchuk, but that doesn't do it for me for $22 million. You want to know what does it for me? The $26+ million that we paid to bring Son Heung-min over, already almost as many goals as Emmanuel Latte-Lath this season, putting the Giroud days clearly in the rearview mirror. It has become must-see television. The only question that lies for me going into this match is how much farther will we extend the 17-goal streak scored by Sonny and Denis Bouanga. Obviously, I've got my eyes on one of the pair, and I'm pretty sure Philly's going to talk about the other.
Yeah, that's fair. ROI. There's not going to be much of an ROI for Atlanta United on who we were just talking about here, but they did end up getting a pretty good chunk of change on a player that comes back, in that of Miguel Almiron. Miguel Almiron was a player that, MLS stands were really proud of, mainly because of the fact that he had a lot of success. He was purchased for $8 million, brought into Atlanta United as a young designated player, and obviously he turned the $8 million that Atlanta paid for his transfer fee around and really made it successful. He was fantastic at Atlanta United. He was under Tata Martino's system along with Joseph Martinez. Look, they were an exciting team. They were the talk of the town. They were the talk of the league. And with the success that he had, he drew eyes. He got to go play in the Premier League at Newcastle, and he spent a significant bit of time there, defenders. Almost 200 caps playing up there in northern England. I should have had a Newcastle beer in my hand, come to think of it. And the amount of money that he went for, an $8 million investment turned in, I think, to like a $21 million investment that Atlanta United was paid. So he was one of those players that we would say, hey, look, MLS is no longer the retirement league for European stars. We're a development league. We're selling players off. Alphonso Davies obviously being one of those players coming from Vancouver, going to Bayern Munich. Miguel Almiron was another product that we were very happy about. But unbeknownst to us, he ends up coming back to Major League Soccer. And honestly, probably the only good thing that happened to the entire club of Atlanta United since that amazing 2018 and 2019 run. And in his time there, look, he's still very effective. He's got 5 goals on the season. He's got 6 assists. So he is a big part of their attack, operating as a midfielder. If they're going to have any kind of offense, it's obviously going to come by way of Miguel Almiron. And for LAFC, I'm going to praise him because, look, I'm not going to be able to do it on the next game because he's going to be playing for Gabon, hopefully helping them get to their first ever World Cup in country history. Of course, we're talking about Denis Bouanga, 23 goals on the season. And oh, by the way, he's tied for the team lead in assists with 8. That'll probably die down really quickly as Sonny's numbers are starting to escalate themselves relatively quickly. But obviously, I've been on the Denis Bouanga train for such a long time. My favorite LAFC player. He's on the verge of a couple of centuries, defenders. And what I mean by that, he's 2 goals shy of hitting the 100 mark for goals across all competitions. And his next regular season appearance will mark his 100th game for LAFC. So Denis Bouanga will obtain that, and I think he will easily obtain the 100 goals. So Denis Bouanga, along, by the way, with Steve Cherundolo, part of the Century Club. We have a couple of Centurions at LAFC.
Yeah, look, Miguel Almiron, 30 goals in 223 matches for Newcastle. You mentioned the 5 goals this year for Miguel Almiron. Philly, 3 of those have come by penalty shot. And I did a little bit of a deep dive on Miguel Almiron because, look, he reminded me a lot of Carlos Vela, loves those left-footed goals. In fact, 27 of Miguel Almiron's 30 goals at Newcastle were left-footed shots. Exactly none of them have been left-footed goals this year for Almiron. Like we mentioned, 3 penalty shots, 1 header, and a right-footed shot. It has been a weird year for Miguel Almiron, but look, the guy, all he needs to do is be as good once as he has been in the past. So we'll see what happens. Look, a couple things that we have to do first and foremost is to keep pace in the West. I already mentioned it before with San Diego winning and with Minnesota winning. Seattle was winning. I haven't bothered to check their score in the last few minutes, but Let's see. Seattle still winning in the 83rd minute, 1-0 against Portland. So all of these teams that we are either chasing or looking to stay ahead of have 3 points on the board or are about to. And Vancouver plays at 3 o'clock tomorrow before we play at 6. So everything will be in front of us tomorrow in order for us to know our fate. Keep pace in the West, which means putting up 3 points. And also, kind of selfishly, Philly, knowing that this is going to be the last match at home in the regular season for Denis, for Son, for Ordaz, who hopefully he's healthy enough to get some minutes, and for Matthew Chonier, I want these guys to leave it all out there. They're not going to have to play for LAFC in the match on the 8th. And in fact, all 4 of those guys will get 2 extra days off before they play their first national team game on the 10th. By the way, they all also play their second national team game on the 14th. So that means for sure they're not going to be there for Toronto, and for sure they're not going to be there for Austin in our match in Austin. So these guys just need to leave it all out there. And I think if they follow what Philly's key to the match is going to be, then I think we will be just fine.
You talk about how that's going to be the last time that we're going to see Denis and Son in the regular season. I make the comment, pay those credit card payments off because we'll be going to playoffs. And from what I've gathered by my bill, we're going to be paying quite a bit too. I was trying to go through LAFC's partners list real quickly to see if we had Klarna as one of our partners. I don't see it, and I don't think Zippy Paws is going to do a good job at helping us pay our bill. But hey, playoffs are abound. That's the price to pay for success. Ruthless aggression. Yes, I'm a wrestling fan, and yes, I'm going to quote ruthless aggression. But the way LAFC have been dominating opponents lately, that's how they're going to win. That's how they're going to continue to do. Look, Atlanta United is a team that struggles with consistency, and they concede late. LAFC just needs to be ruthless in that final third. Press and disrupt that midfield presence that Atlanta United brings into play, and then do what they got to do and just burn them. The idea would be for them to just stay as compact as they could in the middle, allow LAFC to spread out on the wings. But as we know, if LAFC has the opportunity to go in transition, it's the wings that are the most dangerous ones. In that, Denis Bouanga, and obviously the legendary man himself, Sonny, who maybe at some point we'll be talking about in that Ring of Honor conversation with the way he's been playing, because we have been privy to an amazing, amazing debut. The last time we had this amazing of a debut from his first match was Adama Diomande back in 2018, when a good portion of our club went off to the 2018 World Cup. Dio came into LAFC by storm. Didn't know if we would see anything like that until Sonny just literally eclipsed him in the past couple of games. So the idea, again, is the ruthless aggression. Press them as high as you can early, exploit their weaknesses. Don't allow them to stay compact. Go over there on those wings, burn them in transition, and absolutely decimate this terrible team.
Listen, I like the idea. I like SK1 in the chat talking about 5-1. Philly sent over his score prediction, and I said, you know what? I can't have the same score prediction as Philly. So you know what I did? I kicked it up a notch. I think this one's going to be 4-1. I really do. And I'm putting something out there into the universe that I hope happens, Philly. I think we get to see the Hundo at BMO Stadium tomorrow. That is a brace for Denis Bouanga. He is sitting on 98 in a black and gold shirt. Just 2 more needed to get there. I don't think we'll see a hat trick. I think we'll see 2 assists and a goal from Sonny. I think we'll see 2 goals and an assist from Denis. And I think we're going to see a 4th goal from an unlikely source. I'm still hoping Ryan Hollingshead is able to put one away, although that sitter that he missed last game, Ryan, you and I need to have words. But we're going to find a goal from somewhere else, Philly. And I'm saying this. It's going to be the first goal of the match that will break the streak at 17. Somebody will find it, and then the boys will start their new streak of 3 and then on into the playoffs. I've got 4-1.
I like it. And honestly, Park, I don't think your numbers are exaggerated. With the way Atlanta United is, with how shaky they are defensively and how they do concede late, if LAFC can be ruthlessly aggressive, I don't think it's too far-fetched to hit the 5 mark. But I'm actually going to take a more conservative number, and I'm going to choose 3-1. Again, they've got defensive fragility. They've got injuries. They've got poor form, not winning a game since August. I don't think they are going to be competitive in this game whatsoever. And this is me hoping that egg doesn't land on my face when we do the recap pod on Monday. But 3-1, I think, is a very legitimate goal number to hit, because we've been doing it rather consistently. Although I really want to see 5, honestly 6-0 to avenge what we had to face at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in 2018. If there is a game, look, our last game at home is what, against Toronto? Also not a very good team. If we have an opportunity to kind of break our season high because 4 right now is our season high, it's going to either be against Atlanta or it's going to be against Toronto. But I'm going to pick the under. I'm going to go conservative, 3-1.
Well, I just got to put Henry's up here as well. I love it. Look, this isn't. Here's the crazy part, you guys. It's not out of the realm of possibility anymore to predict 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 or 6 goals. I mean, look, you mentioned it, Philly, that this offense is different now. It's changed. It's open. It's free flowing. It's going to be incredible. We are scoring at a pace like we've only scored once before in our club's history, and I don't expect it to slow down. Philly doesn't expect it to slow down. Philly's got 3-1. I've got 4-1. Park's got 5-1. Henry's got 7-0. It's silly season in the chat right now, folks, and I'm here for it. This is what it's all about, Philly. Not to mention, if you get there early at Christmas Tree Lane, there will be a little bit of an Oktoberfest feel. Our good friend Aaron Espinoza, who has been running the tailgates now for the last several seasons, this is his last tailgate that he is running. So it is going to go out with a bit of a bang. It's going to be interesting out there at Christmas Tree Lane. Come on over to the Defenders tent. I'll be there. Would love to chat with all of you guys. Get out there early. It's going to be a lot of fun, Philly.
Oh, I want to be there so bad, but I can't. I've got a broadcast tomorrow. I'm saying this as if it's really that sad. Yeah, I will not be at the tailgate. I will not be able to enjoy Aaron's final tailgate in charge. I will not be able to enjoy what literally is the final day of Oktoberfest, because I will be on a broadcast doing soccer on ESPN Plus. But that being the case, I'll be there for the playoffs. I just did the math, Scarf.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's not a pretty number for our playoff tickets. That's not a pretty number at all.
And that's only to get to the final. If the final's at BMO, I've heard crazy numbers.
Yeah, but also keep in mind that if the final is at BMO, it's not our numbers, it's MLS's numbers.
Yeah.
So LAFC relinquishes all control over the cost of the ticket as well as the parking situation. If y'all remember in 2022, there was the issue with the USC game. Had nothing to do with the club's fault. But look, let's get there and we'll worry about that. But yeah, make sure those American Express cards are paid, because I'm not going to be able to go home, leave home, or get in without it.
All right, I've got 4-1. Philly's got 3-1. The chat, you have been amazing as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this beautiful podcast that you like listening to, or maybe even watching on YouTube, where you get to subscribe to us there.
Anybody knows how to add closed captions in Korean? Please let us know.
Yeah, we need some help with that.
We need a lot of help, Defenders. We need a lot of help. And I don't mean just psychologically.
We by the way, just did have our best week ever. So thank you all to the Defenders faithful out there. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Atlanta at BMO. Let's do it. Bye-bye.